Alpocalypse is the album that is not an album.
That's mostly true.
There are songs on this album that Al released as singles, and this is the internet era. So singles, like I never bought singles as a kid. Did you, Dan?
I think I might have gotten like 1 or 2 CD singles, but by the time CDs were a thing, singles cost what, like $5 a tape or whatever?
What are you guys talking about? You can get a single off of iTunes for like 99 cents. That's the whole
Oh
point.
my God.
Yeah, exactly. In 2008, that was true. So after Straight Outta Linwood, Al was like, you know what? Maybe releasing albums doesn't really make sense. I'm going to like experiment with just releasing singles out on the internet so people can download. And the first song on Alpocalypse came out much closer to Straight Out of Linwood's release than Alpocalypse. So when this album finally did come out and I bought the digital album, I'm like, this is just all the singles I've been listening to for the past 5 years.
I think ever since Weird Al's first album, this is the closest we've gotten to something like Weird Al's first album.
And I mean, the whole album is just a series of music videos, right? Like that's
Right.
the point.
Because this is not an album, right? We neither have Hastily-Made History nor any album art. Is that correct?
No, you are wrong.
Oh, no.
That's right. We're here listening tonight to Weird Al's Alpocalypse, which was released on June 21st, 2011. You might think that is a long gap, and that's true because that was almost 5 years after Straight Out of Linwood. But it's not like Al wasn't doing anything during that time, as Ricky brought up. He was releasing digital singles in 2008 and 2009. Al wanted to have more timely releases of his music because the internet was out and other people were doing other parody stuff and kind of beating him to the punch. He didn't want to wait for a whole album. All these singles were gathered up onto an EP called Internet Leaks, released on August 25th, 2009, which contained Whatever You Like, Craigslist, Skipper Dan, CNR, and Ringtone. All of these tracks would find their way onto Alpocalypse. So this is really kind of half of an album, just like Weird Al's first album was. All the stuff from his EP, plus some other new material.
Yeah, you know, it checks out.
Now, the songs appearing on this album were recorded at Westlake Audio and Sausalito Sound. They were engineered by Tony Papa and Rafael Serrano, and Brian Warwick. They were assisted by Steve Rush, and Matt Cohen engineers Craigslist. The songs for Alpocalypse were recorded in 3 sessions in January, May, and October of 2010. Critical reception for this album was pretty positive. It debuted and peaked at 9 on the Billboard charts, just barely topping Linwood, but still not the highest. However, it quickly fell and did not have as long of a tail as Linwood. Whatever You Like did chart on the Hot 100 at 104, but Performed This Way did not chart. Now, this was nominated for Best Comedy Album for Grammy Awards, did not win it. It was released as a deluxe edition with a CD and DVD included in the box. There was no multi-session discs. You just got a CD and a DVD with all of the videos except for Polka Face and Perform This Way because they were released after the album came out. Returning personnel, we've got Weird Al, Jim West, Steve J, and John Bermuda Schwartz. Warren Looning returns for trumpets on the polka. Joel Peskin is back for clarinet on the polka. Jim Self is back for tuba on the polka. He last played tuba with Weird Al back on Weird Al in 3D. I didn't quite give him enough credit back then. Apparently he played tuba on lots of famous movie soundtracks, like Rocky IV, Airplane, and Jurassic Park. Ruben Valtierra is back for keyboards on Ringtone. Kim Bullard is back for keyboards for Stop Forwarding That Crap to Me. John Dixon returns for French horn. Marty Rifkin, from Truck Drivin' Song, returns for the pedal steel guitar on TMZ. The Hollywood Corral folks from the last album, Angie Jaree, Scotty Haskell, David Joyce, and Randy Crenshaw return for Stop Forwarding That Crap, along with Lisa Popeil and Monique Donnelly. Now, as far as new personnel goes, Ray Manzarek on keyboards for Craigslist. And if you're wondering why Craigslist sounds so much like the Doors, well, that's what happens when you get the guy who co-founded the freaking Doors to play on the song. R.I.P. to Ray, though. He died in 2013 from a rare form of bile duct cancer. Taylor Hanson plays piano on If That Isn't Love. And yes, that is Taylor Hanson from The Hanson. And congratulations, Taylor. You just turned 40 2 weeks ago.
Oh, no.
That's making us all age into dust. And last but not least, Tom Kenny as the announcer on TMZ. You probably know him best as SpongeBob SquarePants. He was also the narrator and the mayor on the Powerpuff Girls. Now, as far as all that's out of the way, and we're here to look at our album art. The art was directed by Megan Foley. Robin Van Swank and Nick Plotquin on photography. Photo retouching was performed by Amy Dressler, and the logo type was by David Santana. Looking at this album art, this feels like the most Photoshoppy of all the album art that Al has ever done.
Yeah, this is definitely like, oh, we got a trial installation of Blender and Photoshop. What do we do now?
I mean, Al is ironically starring as the Horseman of Famine. Think about it.
Are you sure about that? I would have went with war, then famine there is the skeleton. So that makes him either pestilence or pollution.
No, pestilence. The skeleton.
Pollution?
Pestilence.
He's definitely famine.
Yeah.
Like, for sure. That's the joke, Buttface.
Yeah.
Why is that the joke?
Because he did all the songs about food.
No.
That's literally the joke.
Then why is there just a whole skeleton there? That's famished as anything. It's war, then famine. The last one's clearly death. Al has to be either pestilence.
Why would Al be pestilence? Under what?
I
Doesn't make
don't
any
know.
sense.
I don't. That's what my
Buttface,
complaint is
okay.
about this album.
You're not hearing us. We're explaining the joke is that Al is famine.
I've been told if you have to explain the joke that it's not funny.
That's
The
true.
only
but
good
that doesn't-
joke on the album cover, or his horse has curly mane.
That's pretty good.
That's the good joke. Everything else doesn't work. I don't like this album cover.
No, I don't either. Now, I have good/bad news.
Oh no. Bad news first.
We have 5 spaces left in our S tier. That's it. 5. If we try to put a 6th song into S tier, then this town ain't big enough for the both of us. It gets bumped down. And if we try to put a 7th in, then we lose I Remember Larry. Y'all remember Larry, don't you?
I do remember Larry. And honestly, I think Larry, he's probably going to be pretty safe.
We got 3 albums to go through. You don't think we'll get 5 songs and 3 albums?
We'll see where the Swiss cheese lines up.
Alpocalypse, in terms of banger songs, might be the strongest album in the whole Legendarium.
You're not wrong.
This is where I'm going to invite the viewers to go ahead and look at the official Al Yankovic YouTube channel. And this is a playlist you're actually going to want to watch because there is a video for every single song on this album. And they're all pretty good.
Yeah.
Speaking of fantastic videos...
I'm sure my critics will say it's a grotesque display. Well, they can bite me, baby, I perform this way. I might be wearing Swiss cheese or maybe covered with bees. It doesn't mean...
That's how you do an anchor parody to
Yep.
start off a strong album. So we have shaved off points in the past for the takedown songs, but I'm going to give Perform This Way a complete gimme and being a takedown song. It gets 0 points removed for 2 extremely good reasons. The first is we've discussed Coolio, we've discussed Eminem, we've discussed Billy Ray. I think Perform This Way has like the best story about how the track got recorded and how the artists reacted. Like Al had to take it off the album and put it back on the album. Al has 3 versions of Perform This Way on his YouTube channel. There's the one we just listened to from the album, there's the video cut, and then there's an apology cut from when he first recorded it, and it says like, this was gonna be on my new album, Lady Gaga said I couldn't use it, I'm just gonna release it for free, here it is. Apparently he was trying to get in touch with Lady Gaga to get permission to do a parody of Born This Way, which was gonna be like her biggest song ever. And got very flimsy. We have to like see it first, right? So he kind of like, he drafted lyrics, sent over the lyrics, explained what it was going to be. Well, maybe we have to hear it. Usually at that point, apparently like Al bails, like that's a no. But it's Lady Gaga, one of the biggest people in the industry right now. He actually went ahead, recorded the song, mixed it, mastered it, sent it over to her people, thinking this is just a formality. All they want to do is sign off on it. Nope, shut it down. You cannot put that on the album. It's like, all right, I can't make the video of this, can't put it on the album, gonna release it for free. And then apparently the media got in touch with Lady Gaga. Like, why did you say no to Weird Al? And her response was something like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Nobody brought this to me. So she got to hear the full mixed mastered version of the parody of her song, immediately got back in touch and said, ship it. I love this. It's excellent. I don't think it's ever happened to any artist Al has ever parodied before. So that's a fantastic story.
So 2 things. One, I actually don't think it's a takedown song.
that's what I was
think
going to
it's
say.
Kind of a
It's not
this
a
is
takedown
kind of a
song.
celebration of Lady Gaga.
In a way, and that's my number 2 reason,
Yeah.
because if it's a takedown song, because the criticism of Lady Gaga is she just dresses in like flamboyant, stupid costumes to get press, to get attention, etc., which is absolutely true. But you know what? I can think of another performer who, in doing live shows, wears ostentatious costumes, larger-than-life performances, lots of costume changes, and goes out and makes an absolute fool of themselves.
One, Alfred Yankovic.
Alfred Yankovic. So
That's what I was thinking.
yeah, he's making fun of her weird ass costumes, but he's also like, I also perform this way. It's just a literal expression of how he likes to perform. S+. Go ahead and give me your opinions, guys.
Yeah, I think that Al saw someone doing some goofy, zany stuff, interjecting weird back into pop, and felt this like kindred spirit. And this song is just an exuberant celebration of that. I have a quote from a Lady Gaga interview. Her quote exactly is, "The intent is to put art culture into music. The reverse of a Warhol. Instead of putting pop onto the canvas, we wanted to put art onto the soup can." And that was for her 3rd album. A months-long rollout, art exhibition, rave, media tour, and exclusive iPhone app, which came out after Perform This Way dropped. There is nothing in this song that jumps the shark. I'm not personally resonated with Gaga's music, but I do appreciate what she's doing with the capital F art culture.
The quote that I had from Weird Al on this was, Twitter saved my album, because apparently there was a lot of not just media, but also like grassroots people just going out and appealing directly to Lady Gaga. Like, what's up? What's the deal?
Yeah.
I love that we have these 2 kindred spirits here, because that's exactly what I was thinking listening to this. Yes, he absolutely gets what Lady Gaga as a performer does. Everybody knows the world is just the stage, right? So Born This Way is about being your true self. And if being your true self is being a performer, then go nuts. And Weird Al is a performer. He was born that way, and he will perform that way.
Should I just go ahead and drop this in S?
I only
Yes.
gave it an A++. Again, it's not my style of song. Sorry.
You don't own any Lady Gaga albums?
None.
Really?
Child never 90s old as toenail clippings as a potent aphrodisiac. He ran a 4-minute mile blindfolded with an engine block strapped to his back.
Years back now, I was asked by a friend, if you could magically have the talent of any artist, who would you pick? And my knee-jerk reaction was Jack White or Weird Al. Those 2 are on equal level for me. Jack White is probably my most respected working musician out there. The dude is just incredible, writing riff after riff after riff that can stand the test of time with the greats, to stripping back a lot of the nonsense of production with his work in the White Stripes, getting to the crunchy songwriting goodness, to his continued experimentation musically. The man put a Vocaloid guitar pedal on one of his last albums, for Pete's sake. I don't know who said it, but I've heard him referred to as the Willy Wonka of rock. I want to make it down to Third Man Records in Nashville one of these days just to get me a freshly pressed vinyl. And Al is going toe-to-toe with Jack and is able to hold his own. This song, CNR, is 7 different White Stripes songs smushed together, and yet it sounds distinct, with a dead-on match for Jack's playing style, riff writing, and that signature blown-out, tube-splitting, octave-screaming tone. Jack is also known for his playfulness with his lyrics, using them in some cases percussively, and other times in painting these incredibly vivid metaphors. So, to see Al unhinged using that space to outdo the Chuck Norris bit for just this unlikely subject, yeah, no, this song is an S++.
So Buttface,
Yeah.
you know what that secret ingredient is that makes this song distinct?
What?
Is that instead of using the riff from Dead Leaves and Dirty Ground, he uses the riff from Iron Man.
Yeah!
Buttface, I
Yeah?
promise. This is not in retaliation for singing Perform This Way.
Again, it's to taste. If this is not your style of music, I get it.
I love the music. I think the music's fantastic. I can listen to this song all day long. And I appreciate the humor in casting Charles Nelson Riley into a flurry of Chuck Norris jokes. That's a really... And there's actually a story behind that, too, that
Yeah.
Al told at his recent concert last year. he went to CNR's partner to get permission to do this song. And apparently he was told, it's okay to do a song, just don't make him sound like a sissy. And I was like, all right, I'm going to take that ball and run with it.
I was like, my first note is Tony Award winning Broadway actor and match game gimmick Charles Nelson Riley. Is he the waffle king? Because he can eat all the frozen waffles. This god amongst men.
That doesn't make them not Chuck Norris jokes. And by 2011, I was already really tired of Chuck Norris jokes. So
They're not Chuck Norris jokes. They're Chuck Nelson Riley jokes.
Fell off the Chrysler building and barely stubbed his toe brick. Come
half
on.
a dozen of one. So the humor of the song is just not completely there for me, and that's why I'm giving it an A and not an S. It's not because you sank my favorite song, Butt Face, I promise.
It didn't even hurt.
This is just a loving homage to Jack White and his body of work. And in terms of loving homages to specific bodies of work, that this isn't even the best one on this album, but
Right.
as a number two, the old 1-2 punch of the Anchor parody and then original song, this is a much better lead-in than Pancreas.
Oh, yes.
So,
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
It gets the A on that, but I'm going to give it an A minus because it's not a high A, but it's almost a B, but I'm bumping it out of B because it really is that good of a White Stripes song.
They're on TMZ. If they catch you peeing in the bushes later on.
I am not a Swiftie. In fact, the most interesting stuff I've heard from her has been their collaborations with the folks behind The National. Just not a country pop kind of guy. I feel like this is Al's third song in a row now, pulling from three very different corners of pop, but also pop that has gone on to be defining features of not just the previous decade, but shaping the landscape of what pop was to come in the following decade as well. Kind of hard to pick bigger names than Tay Tay, Gaga, and Jack Jack. I just wonder how much of this song reflects Al's personal experiences with the media. It's not hard to paint them in a bad light, an invasion of privacy, the demand from the public to turn everything into spectacle. But again, Al is smarter than that. As the song goes on, it flips that lens back around to point out that, no, sometimes celebrities foist themselves on society writ large in a way where racist rants and reckless endangerment with a motor vehicle are just headline news, an apology tweet, and moving on from being canceled. No side in this song escapes unscathed from Al's sardonic wit.
That is true.
The beautiful thing about this song is that it's a modern version of Midnight Star. You know, because there are real TMZ stories that are parodied in those lyrics. I find this finally got me to look up what TMZ actually stands for. And it's apparently the 30-mile zone, quote unquote, of studios in Los Angeles centered on Beverly and La Cienega Boulevards. We've moved way beyond whatever the supermarket tabloids are doing with TMZ. This is a really good song. I like it a lot.
Dan's going to yell at me now.
Oh, I'm only giving it an A, don't worry.
Okay.
I was giving it an S.
An S, okay. So I find as I listen to a lot of Weird Al songs, and I don't know about you guys, but I've listened to a lot of Weird Al songs lately.
I know,
But
right?
when he covers the same territory in multiple songs, I find like when I get to the crest of the hill of a particular subject, like that's the one I want. And when I listen to TMZ and he's talking about media exploitation, it's like I listen to this and I just immediately want to go back and listen to Jerry Springer. It's the better song.
The song is better than Jerry Springer
This song
because
is much
it's
better than Jerry Springer.
This song, I'll put this in an elevated parody easily. And it's because I have minor experience in doing it, and I will never say that writing a song parody is easy. I think that's a really lazy criticism that people will put on Weird Al sometimes. He just takes other people's music and puts the words in. That's easy. It's not easy, and I will never say that it's easy. That said, trying to write a song, a parody of Taylor Swift's You Belong to Me, compared to Bare Naked Ladies 1 Week, I performed the experiment.
Yeah.
I set up a 10-minute timer, and I spent the first half of the 10 minutes listening to Taylor Swift's song, and then I wrote this. And I heard the squeak, I spun, I got my shield up, blocked the nuts, those scrubs were spitting constantly, trying to kill me in the Deku tree.
Yeah.
That's 4 minutes of writing. I couldn't do that with BNL. So when it comes to this particular subject, TMZ gets my A, but not my S, because it's sending me to another song that I want to listen to, and an S tier song cannot have that quality.
That's fair. I can accept that. It's just in terms of like just listening to the backing music, I'm just like, oh, like they're just nailing the Taylor sound. And
I thought he got it wrong a little bit. Hers is a little more poppy, and then Al's version is a little more twangy.
He's got a little bit more highlight on the banjo, but you know what?
Yeah.
I'm on record as liking the banjo.
I also like the banjo. Of course, this also has a great video that goes along with it, done by Bill Plimpton. I think this is actually a better video than Don't Download This Song, in that just the actual motion animation of how the story goes through. And also it's about butts. I'm all for that.
It is about a nude butt.
It's about a butt.
Bill Plimpton's illustration also lends itself a little bit more to like those straight off the tabloid kind of sketches. It makes more sense.
I'm a tour guide on the Jungle Cruise ride. Skipper Dan is the name. And I'm doing 34 shows every day. And every time it's the same.
Now, you guys know me. You know that I have a wide breadth and depth in my taste in music. But I gotta tell you, I don't care much for Weezer. I mean, they're a perfectly fine band. However, I will tip my cap in their direction that if this song is Millennial Malaise, the song, Weezer is Millennial Malaise, the band. And the story I've been told about this song is that it was based on a guy who really was one of the tour guides on the Jungle Cruise ride at Disneyland. And Al was on the ride, and this tour guide was musing about his failed acting career, saying, "What have I done with my life?" And all I can say is, Al, I sure hope you're cutting that guy a royalty check from this song. This is Weezer. It's like, yes, you can list all the ways that this is a quintessential Weezer sound. And the song is good, but it's hard for me to separate it because I am, not literally, but I am figuratively Skipper Dan.
A few weeks back, Brick said we had yet to cover his all-time favorite Weird Al song. And I took a stab in the dark that it would end up being Skipper Dan. And I have 4 reasons for that.
Wow.
Let's hear him.
1, Brick is a mark for anything Disney and theme park related.
Yeah.
This is a known fact.
True.
2, this song has a bit of a show tune vibe going on, though it's a little bit more rock related. The subject, about feeling passed by despite whatever effort you've put in just because of circumstances and finding yourself stuck in a rut doing something you might consider lame or beneath what you'd hoped for. Look, it hits close to home for a lot of us, all right? And
yeah, wow.
I have a feeling that it's kind of more universal than you think at first glance.
Ouch, my anxieties.
Yeah, and the song just downright rocks. Like, it's got the doops in the backups that you can sing to, those multi-layered harmonies in the chorus. The lyrics themselves are hilarious and beyond just cutting deeper than I'd like.
I mean, I'm 40, buttface.
Yeah?
And I can sit here at age 40 and I can look back at all the novels I didn't write.
Uh-huh.
And then the line, my hopes are all vanished and my dreams have all died.
Uh-huh.
But you're wrong. This is not my favorite Weird Al song. Sorry.
Okay, well, yeah, no worries.
If you will look over to your left, you will find we have arrived at Brick Road's Nitpickville. In actuality, you will not find bored, listless tour guides at a Disney park. If you actually go to Adventureland and get on the Jungle Cruise ride, them dudes are going to be on point.
Oh, yeah.
Go to a lesser park, maybe at like a SeaWorld or some of these little regional parks. If you're in Orlando and you want to see the dead-eyed, failed actor, you need to go to the Steampunk Princess restaurant, whose name I do not remember, and look deep into the waiter's eyes as he comes to the table, and he can't take your order until he's blabbed through his mandatory 4 pieces of fantasy lore that he has to share about the backstory of the restaurant before you're allowed to tell him you want egg rolls. I gazed deep into that man's eyes, and I knew what despair was.
And I was there, I can vouch. At some point, you have to realize, hey, it's time to move on. I think it's time for Skipper Dan to realize, hey, it's time to move on from there too. You might not have made it as an actor, but guess what? This 2011, YouTube is coming along. Maybe you'll be able to stream. Who knows? The opportunity is always there for you.
And then Tarantino gives you a call after all.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just saying, we couldn't get Waffle King as an S tier, oddly specific song job. I kind of want to do it for poor old Skipper Dan.
Oh, I've got
really
this in
love
S
this
for
song.
Sundance, or maybe can.
Yeah.
I also have this in S for Skipper Dan.
Okay. We got one in there.
I do think there's a nice touch at the end of the video where earlier he's doing the cat on the hot tin roof. And later on, you can see there's Skipper Ann, whose boat is coming right next to him. She's his co-star from Cat on the Hot Tin Roof. It's like, you're not alone, Dan. You know, maybe chat up Skipper Ann. You know, maybe you guys have something in common. I'm just saying.
Can't read mine. No, he can't read my Polka Face. She's got to love nobody.
I would like to read to you my notes for this polka. It's a polka. It's good. I realize I'm stealing a bit there, but that's all I have to say about this polka. I mean, at this
We've
point...
done so many polkas. There's
I
only
know,
so much you can say about a polka.
Well,
I know, right?
This is the second polka in a row that the first time I listened to it, I became introduced to what is now one of my all-time favorite songs that's always on my short playlists. Owl City's Fireflies. That song is transcendently good. I love it so much, and I'd never heard it before Polka Face came out. So thanks, Al, for two of my favorite songs coming from out of your polka medleys. Otherwise, perfectly cromulent polka.
This polka is, as far as I can tell, the only polka to start and end with the same song parody. That is how strong Poker Face works as the perfect fit for Weird Al.
Well, Bohemian Polka.
That did start and end with the same song, you're right.
It did.
Yeah,
It's not a polka medley, though.
it is a medley. Dan explained this to you. Listen, I understand you're butt mad. I get it. I'm also butt mad. Here's why. Before we started this project, I would have bet my life and all of yours that the song You Spin Me Round Like a Record by Dead or Alive was in one of the 80s polka medleys. I would have sworn on a stack of religion, and it's not. So now I'm dumb and we're all dead.
I believe it's actually Florida's version.
Yeah,
of
in
the-
this song. So, because I remember hearing Polka Face the first time, I'm like, oh, that's cool. Al's been around so long that he's got a remixed cover of a song he already did for. Nope, never happened. It was in the Berenstain dimension.
I know Dan's notes are short, but I actually got a little bit here. Because again, this is the only polka to start and end with the same song. Which got me thinking, do you think Al is making a statement with this polka?
Oh, Lord.
Is it that pop had become a lot more repetitive? Or
Pop
maybe
music
he
was
just-
repetitive when Weird Al was doing things 30 years ago.
Maybe he just
before
felt
this.
that way in recent years as an elder statement of pop. But between Poker Face Womanizer, Right Round, Baby, Break Your Heart, just repeating and repeating and repeating the same lyrics, not to mention that completely anachronistic record skipping joke on replay. It doesn't make sense in the iPod era. I'm just saying that there's some capital F art student who might have a case to make for an analysis paper if they wanted to.
We could use that same argument for Angry White Boy Polka.
What was it you said earlier? If you have to explain the joke, it's not funny.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
a joke. I think that this is just one of Al's most repetitive polkas he's put out there. And Al is known for taking repeated choruses and changing up the lyrics constantly.
You're reading way too much into it. The reason Polka Face is at the beginning and end of the song is because it works really well as the phrase Polka Face.
That's what I
That's
started
it.
with saying.
I
And
know.
then it got me looking at everything in the content of the polka.
And then you saw a rabbit hole and you're like, I'm going to put my head down in there.
Oh, yeah. Anyways,
face.
it's only an A polka. It's
It's an A. I've got this an A for sure.
I mean, it is an A polka. The only real distinctive thing about this polka is that it's the only polka that has a video. Apparently, this video was done by Comedy Central's Jokes.com, a website that I'm sure we all
an
remember.
unfortunate last name. Did you want to tell us what your one song parody on here you wanted to fleshed out fully?
Mine was Right Round.
So In 2011, when I heard Polka Face and Fireflies became one of my favorite songs of all time, I tried to write a video game parody for Fireflies. It was about Super Metroid, and it just never went anywhere. Yeah, I'm just going to stick with Fireflies, I think.
See, because I really want to hear Blame It, because there's a lot that Al could milk there comedically for what you could blame it on.
Al doing Katy Perry would be pretty funny, but I stuck with Right Round.
I want a parody of the 80s version of You Spin Me Right Round. Like, that would be way
Sure.
better. Put it on the 2024 album. Why not?
Got a trash can of styrofoam peanuts. You can have them for free. You can drop by on the weekend.
This is the better website song compared to eBay. I love how the thought process began and end with, if eBay is the fancy commercial pop group, what could we do for Craigslist? Oh yeah, let's just sleaze it up a little bit. I've always said the only way to improve a good fuzzed out guitar tone is to layer on some killer organ under it. And I am in love with the groove on this song. Way, way, way back at the beginning of the podcast, I said on one of the polkas I wanted an extended 37-minute song of Al covering Inagata Devita. And this right here is why. Absolutely, he has the chops for it.
Well, no, Ray had the chops for it.
Okay, fair enough. But Al could be singing the contents of the phone book at me, and it would still be my top 5 songs if he had this backing track. Add on to that whole gamut of skeevy post types. Like, we agree that coffee shop guy has to be why does this always happen to me guy, right?
Yeah, that's the guy. That's
Yeah,
him.
that's the guy.
And to be honest with you, I do kind of want your styrofoam peanuts. There have never been more sensual styrofoam peanuts in the history of man. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say there never will be again.
Yeah.
The only points I can take off of this song is the fact that it's shorter than Nature Trail to Hell.
This song sidesteps 2 issues that I've had throughout the podcasts. The first is, like, y'all know that I'm already a little, like, oogie woogie on the valuing a style parody versus just saying it's original work that states its influences, right? But that said, this is the best style parody Al's ever done, and it's not close. Played this song for somebody who liked the Doors, and their first instinct was like, I've never heard this Doors song before. And then the other sidestep it does, because I just explained, like, when we're covering the same subject matter, I tend to, like, gravitate towards just the best song on the subject. But this song is so different from eBay that I can have them both in S with no qualms. Because eBay was a listicle, and listicles are fantastic. This song is a series of characters explaining the various features of Craigslist. Totally different vibe. Yeah, so this doesn't send me to eBay, and eBay doesn't send me here. So yeah, I have them both in S tier, and I'm not going to apologize for that.
eBay and Craigslist, the websites, serve 2 very different functions. Craigslist is the replacement for newspaper classifieds. And we used to have in newspaper classifieds, Buttface won't remember this because he's a wee babby, but people would go in classifieds and put in like, oh, I'm looking for a relationship because we didn't have online dating sites. So they'd put in, that's the entire plot of the Pina Colada song is people putting in missed connections in their newspaper classifieds.
Dan, do you remember job hunting out of the newspaper?
Yes.
Wow,
yes.
dude. How old are we?
I have also been there, but again, small town.
Anyway, to actually talk about this song, obviously we mentioned up front that Ray, the founding member of the Doors, was playing on here, and that is what gives this song the cred. Like, it is exactly the perfect sound. Him and the rest of the band, the drums, those big toms, those boom, 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 boom. It's like, we all know those from the Doors, right?
Oh, yeah.
Every single musical part of the song works. The bones were there for Pancreas to have been a song like this if Al had chosen better subject material for it. We could have put that song in S tier just like this one, but we didn't. This is why the lyrical content is so important.
As Brick said, there's like 4 different, very specific jokes for each of the verses. It's great.
And Al nails that Jim Morrison, like the cadence, especially with the No tip for you. It's like, oh my God. It's like, and you know what? Craig from Craigslist, he loves this song. He thinks it's hilarious.
I couldn't place this high enough in S tier, I don't think.
Nope, neither. This is...
Could we have a contender with Bohemian Polka?
Buttface, guess what? This is also not my favorite Weird Al song.
Yeah, we got our flag up all over the world, from Kazakhstan to Bombay. Paying the bribes like yeah, plugging the leaks like yeah.
I like exactly one Cyrus song, be it senior or junior. And it is Party in the USA.
Yeah.
If anyone asked what the music landscape sounded around this time, I would point at this exact sound. It's that clean guitar layered with that overblown buzzy synth. Yeah, it's a little bit of a spacey pad in the background. It's got the dubstep vroom, vroom on the chorus. It's fluffy, nothing pop lyrics. It's indicative of the time. So you take that and you mold it around this story about G-men, and it's just fun. It might be the single most out there concept for a song Al has done on face value, but I don't know. Something about it just works so well together. Like, I don't know, peanut butter and jelly, or a surveillance state and extra legal actions to silence dissent. Just,
Yeah, this is Al's first and I think only second generation parody
You know what? I think you're right.
after Achy Breaky Song.
My first note in this was Revenge of the Cyrus. When this song would have been produced, the negotiations for this probably would have been happening in early 2010. So Al would have had to talk to Billy Ray about doing this. So,
Oh, man.
note, I guess there's no hard feelings there.
I would trade half the songs on the previous album to hear that phone call. Hey, Billy, I got a question for you. I am very glad that the album cut of the song has the silenced gunshots.
Yes.
it needs it.
I really missed the beginning of Perform This Way. The video has the camera shutters. It's not in the album cut. And I'm like, oh, there's something missing there. But they got it here. And I'm very... Also, this is my favorite Weird Al animated video.
It's by the Happy Tree Friends guys, right?
Yeah, so this video was directed by Rock Ballesteros, who at the time was working for Ghostbot, also known as the Happy Tree Friends people. He did his time storyboarding on Happy Tree Friends, and this is not the usual style that you would expect from the quote-unquote Happy Tree Friends people, but on the other hand, it was like, what, 5-6 years since the last Happy Tree Friends?
The style of the animation is really reminiscent for me of stuff like Saul Bass's title sequences, right? It's that really angular, almost paper cutout kind of style.
Of course, spying is all fun and games until you commit a couple war crimes, right?
You know, we only torture the folks we don't like, so you're probably gonna be okay.
No, just get in the black van. Just get in the black van. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
And to be fair, the G-Man in this song gets his comeuppance at the end.
And you know what? He's a good sport about it, too, at the end.
Also, last I checked, the FBI and CIA both fall under the purview of the Office of Personnel Management and ergo get the same benefits as other federal employees.
That is true. I have this in S tier. I love this song.
I have it as an A+++ or an S-. It's so on the line, I could go either way.
Well, I can't place the icon on the line, Buttface.
I gave it an A+.
Okay.
So guys, how many ringtones do you have in your phone?
1.
I've had 2 ringtones my entire life.
I've had many ringtones over the years. I've had the same one on my phone for the past 10 years. It's a vampire killer from Castlevania Harmony of Despair when that was coming around.
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. I have not heard that ringtone in 10 years because my phone is on mute. We all collectively agreed as a society that our phones belong on vibrate because of not just guys like this, but we all collectively realized that just having these noises and sounds interrupt the public square was a nuisance, and we stopped doing it. It wasn't always that way. It took us a little while to realize that we shouldn't do it. And this song...
Shoot, my phone wasn't on mute. Sorry.
And this song is the PSA to say, hey, maybe we should change society just a little bit and not have these annoying sounds going off in public all the time.
Dan, I'm gonna fight you. I miss ringtones. I want them back. I want to be in the store. I want to hear everybody's crappy musical tastes. I want to be behind a person in line who thought it was really cute to go like their baby to like babble into the phone, and now that's their ringtone.
Oh no.
I love that kind of just cheesy, harmless, societal fun. We don't get enough of it these days.
The whimsy is gone.
We need to bring back like men with hats, ringtones, and that's pretty much it. Those two things. I'll be happy.
Look,
Okay.
I didn't have a cell phone until my 20s, but nonetheless, my first ringtone was L's theme from Death Note, which is a riff on Tubular Bells by Mike Oldfield. And then that quickly got replaced because I watched other anime, and it was Big Shot's theme from Cowboy Bebop, that
That's a
American
good
Money.
one.
It's a really good friggin' text tone.
I want to be at the mall and hear across the like the Big Shots theme and like look over the stacks at the guy and like, dude, me too, thumbs up.
But here's the thing, people don't put in that effort. Like, obviously the subject of the song is like, oh, I spent $2 on this ringtone because that's what normies did. But for the longest time, I mean, I have like 10 different custom ringtones on my phone that I never use because it's always on
It
silent.
was so much work, Dan. The other one I want to point out is my text tone at the time. The only one I had was Kefka's laugh. That from
See,
the
you'd think I
16-bit.
would have that, but I don't.
It's a really good text tone.
It is a good one. But that's the thing, those people were lazy and everybody was just using the default ringtone, whether it was the Nokia one from the I'm on a cell phone guy, or if it's the marimba that's on the iPhone.
Yeah, my phone's been on vibrate for the past 5 years, and after that first cell phone died, I just never put new. I was like, well, I don't want to.
So the Weird Al song we just listened to.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's
yeah,
a
yeah.
Queen song.
The song itself is kind of a send up of novelty ringtones at the time. Like I could imagine setting your ringtone to this song, right?
Yeah. See, this is much more of a vibes-based style parody than like going after specific Queen songs. Like,
Yeah.
I think the most it really cribs from is Supersonic. It's a perfectly cromulent Weird Al song. This is the most like internet parody song of the songs on this album, I think. Especially because the video is produced by something you'll never remember, by Current TV's Super News. Nobody remembers this, even though Current TV was a joint project started by Al Gore and megalo lawyer and all-around third-way gremlin Joel Hyatt.
How could something like Big TV fail on the internet?
You know Al Gore's got a dorky ringtone.
And the only memorable thing about this video when I watched it was that the first character is very clearly Jim from The Office.
In my opinion, I think Ringtone is the weakest song on the album. So I was thinking like a high B, or maybe even a middle B. But there's one part of the song that really elevates it for me. It's with that strong everyone in the world list energy, including nuns and nannies and all the Wayans brothers. I think that squeaks it up into an A for me, because that part of the song is so good.
I mean, you don't want to make enemies of the Wayans brothers, man.
I love the voice crack on, I pay good money for this.
So yeah, it's a fun song, and I think it's the weakest song on the album, but I still think it's a very low A.
I mean, there's a weaker song on the album, but yeah, I gave it an A.
I also gave it an A.
Next to Hello Kitty and a zombie ice skating. Wait, it's Ronald Reagan. I've got these dragons, I've got these dolphins, all inscribed on me indelibly. I've had bad reactions, bad infections.
White boy can rap, nobody saw it coming, etc. This is a splendid, elevated parody. Straight up listicle with a cool R&B flavor. Crystal Pepsi and casual nudity in the animated video. What's not to like about Another Tattoo? One thing that I think about this song that really kind of sets it apart for me is it has an excellent call and response in all of the lyrics. At every job interview, they're just so impressed. Really? Does it for me every time. There's not much to say. I'm putting this in A tier for Another Tattoo.
Boba Fett was really rocking that clarinet.
He was.
We've pointed out on the album here, at least I have, that Al is pulling from real big pop names that would find their footing going forward from here. Like they were just up and coming and then kind of exploded in the 2010s and onwards. It's kind of nice to see that he also snuck Bruno Mars in there, who was just starting to find their footing. It wasn't the new smooth pop sensation that they are now. I don't have any ink on me, and I'm kind of of two minds of the idea. I'd love to have like a full sleeve tattoo. Been working on this design of like abstract geometric tessellations reminiscent of MC Escher and Celtic knots. And on the other, I guess, arm, any easily identifiable marks kind of make it easier to pick me out of a lineup. And I don't know if I want that hanging over my head, you know?
My thought is always, hey, it's your body, go nuts. If you want that Boba Fett playing clarinet,
Again, pointing back to Bruno Mars, kind of seems to have this ability to conjure whole cloth, this throwback nostalgic sound from something that never really existed specifically. I don't know, Al kind of misses the mark on the production here compared to the original song.
well, what I wrote is that Al is really like crooning in this. It really feels like it's coming from this. It's not related to Bruno Mars at all. I'm actually thinking more of like a Boys to Men or something that just,
Yeah.
He's in that
Yeah.
zip code for sure.
it's playing in that area.
As Brick pointed out, for whatever minor stumbles there are on musical production, Al makes up for it with the absurd lyrics or for truly meaningful artistic self-expression. This kind of feels like a mirror song to perform this way in that regard.
That's a good point.
I don't know, man. I think it's one of his weaker rapping outings.
No way.
He crams a lot more into earlier stuff. I mean, he didn't have a lot to work with this song specifically
You're
to
not
begin
supposed
with.
to cram anything into this. It's supposed to be lilting. It's supposed to be comfortable.
Yeah, this is not a dense song, which is fine. I mean, it's dense in the sense of there's a whole bunch of references, but it's not dense in terms of trying to cram as many words into it as possible. It brings in that slowness to it, especially as you say, with the call and response. That's a critical part of this song and also a critical part of what Bruno Mars was doing at the time. It works really well.
Look, the video had Crystal Pepsi, and I think this is just Al rapping light.
Speaking of the video, this video was done by Augenblick Studios. We talked about them a few episodes ago because they were the ones who did the video for Horoscope for Today.
Oh yeah.
I just have it as an A-. I can't say it's any better than an A, though.
I had it in an A.
If that isn't love, I don't know what love is. Na 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 na. No, I guess I don't know. Na na na.
Hey guys, we're back with another guy. Well, not really. It's the same guy. It's always the same guy. It is not Incel Guy this time around. The guy that we have is actually Do I Creep You Out Guy. He's back and he's trying to do better. Is he succeeding? You be the judge.
Of course he's succeeding. He's in a healthy, loving relationship now.
Yes,
Yeah.
and he's failing at every opportunity.
Oh no. He's doing fine.
Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
I have been in a relationship. Man, we're going on 6-7 years at this point. This is the real shit. And
Yes.
Yup.
this is where it is, all right? This is past the honeymoon phase.
Yup.
Look, it's the little stuff. It's the mundane acts of kindness and the suffering through your different friction-inducing quirks. Love is getting home and finding the laundry done unexpectedly and then being asked to pop a zit on their back that they can't reach.
Yup.
I totally support every idiotic thing you do.
God
Is
damn it,
Al's-
that's what I was going to say.
It is Al's single most relatable lyric in his entire discography.
Love it.
My note, quote, I totally support every idiotic thing you do. Literally, if that's not love, I don't know what love is. That is because I'm being a little hard on him, but Do I Creep You Out Guy? He is trying to do better. And you know what? Sometimes they win, sometimes they don't. But as long as you learn from your mistakes, which he showed that he had the opportunity to learn, and he's putting the opportunity to learn in practice.
I think Buttface's point was that this is not Creep You Out Guy. This is just ordinary relation. This is just us. This is just regular everybody you know guy.
It's just normal men.
My wife, she likes to wear dresses with these like sashes or ribbons or something tied up in front of her every single day of her waking life. I tug it and untie it. This happens 2-3 times a day, and she's so over it. And every time it happens, she just gives me this look like, if that isn't love.
And who better to play piano on this song than Taylor Hanson,
Yeah.
the most popular of the Hanson brothers, question mark?
I gotta stop you again right there, Dan. Hanson was not popular since like the 90s, right? I'm not missing out on some mid-aughties Hanson heads resurgence, right?
Hanson definitely peaked in their nationwide popularity with Mbop and their follow-ups to that.
I'm sure. But again, this is reaching back 10 plus years. This is a throwback pop song is all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Here's how much I love this song. I'm putting this in A tier, by the way. But I do love it. Quite
Only
a lot.
A?
Only A.
Because I literally have this in S as the most relatable love song I think I've heard.
Dan observed that this album came out the week of my wedding reception. And at my wedding reception, my wife and I selected Jonathan Colton's Skull Crusher Mountain.
Oh.
But I feel like if we gotten married a year later, I would have played this at the reception just to see.
It's like if we had bought the album and listened to it, we probably would have pulled an audible.
Maybe.
We just didn't know, we were too busy.
And the only reason it's not an S tier song is that musically it's nice, but it's not ringing any bells for me. I do really, really love the lyrics though. And it is really a description of just, this is where if your relationship ends up here, you done did it right. Let her put her hands in your butt crack to warm them up. That's the kind of gentleman you are.
It's nature's pocket.
That is, yeah, no. It's nothing that screams love quite like that.
I think probably what's coloring my judgment a little bit is the video, where the person who is doing this video, a fellow named Brian Frisk, graphic designer and animator, worked for big-time firms like Chiat Day, and Al found him from his online series called Candy Hole and reached out to Brian. The sequences they put through are this clearly well-meaning guy screwing up in a whole bunch of ways.
Well, that's true, because in the song, he says, when you're cleaning up the gutters, I hold the ladder. But in the video, he's not holding the ladder and she falls.
Yeah,
So
I think
you're
it's
two
all a
very
framing
different-
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely can see that.
The video is just a Goofus and Gallant kind of situation.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where everybody's got a story, I guess. I mean, my letter grade that I gave this was a B. It's nice musically. You know, the na 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 na. That's Hanson. I mean, what is Hanson but that?
If that isn't Hanson.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a good song. I like a lot of it, but I feel like it probably is the weakest song in the album for me.
Yeah, you like top ramen, me top ramen, got a cupboard full of them, I'll keep them coming. You want it, I gotta go get it, just heat it, dump the flavor packet on it and eat it.
If I had $1 million, we wouldn't
God damn
have
it,
to
Freak! I
eat
was gonna make a
craft
fancy
dinner.
Dijon joke! God damn it!
The balls on this Yankovic guy. I'm gonna write a song parody. I'm not gonna change the title. I'm not gonna change the subject. I'm gonna do the music perfectly. I'm mad at him.
I've never heard the original song because when I type whatever you like, it comes up with the Weird Al version
So,
every time.
The original, it's just this, except the rapper is like offering like jewelry and Patron on ice and like jet rides and stuff. So all he's done is changed like the financial stratification of the situation. And you know what? If I had to pick between Blue Box and Patron on ice, I'm gonna pick the Blue Box and White Castle 10 times out of 10. At the beginning of this project, if you had asked me like, what are your like 3 favorite songs from each album? For Straight Outta Linwood, I would have told you that, oh, you know, White and Nerdy is the best, I think. But like whatever you like is probably up there. Because this song came out as a single like a year or 2 after that album dropped. So it was in my Weird Al playlist for years before Alpocalypse came out. I didn't know until we sat down to like organize like all the graphics and stuff for the series that whatever you like was on this album.
However, it does feel like an appropriate follow-up to If That Isn't Love.
Yeah, coming off the heels of what is Al's most relatable love song is Al's second most relatable love song.
Especially because we all lived through the Great Recession.
Yeah.
Guys, I want to put it out there. There is nothing wrong with clipping coupons.
No.
I am not a particularly well-to-do guy. I penny pinch, I scrimp. That's
thrifty.
great. I'm not quite living paycheck to paycheck, but I'm just getting by, you know? I'm not living that baller brag rap lifestyle. It's not happening.
But when you order pizza, you let her pick out the toppings, right?
Absolutely.
That's what the song's talking about.
I let her pick her half of the pizza, and then I order my half of the pizza.
I can't get a pizza delivered without pepperoni on it. Doesn't happen.
I don't require anything fancy. I'm a cozy guy.
Yeah.
I'm down for a date night of a home-cooked meal and some board games.
Right.
Like, that sounds way better than going through all the hassle of getting snazzed up and going out to some fancy restaurant. I can make a better steak dinner at home for the both of us for like $15.
Right.
Tops.
Yeah, I have this in S for Straight Outta Linwood.
I don't know.
The R&B rap is not really my style. This is just an A. It's, again, his second most relatable love song.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I gave it a B. It's fine. I like it. It's okay.
Dan, we can put it wherever you like.
You're sending virus-laden man with hogging attachments to every single person you know. You're passing around a link to some dumb thing on YouTube.
Jim Steinman, writer of famous songs like Total Eclipse of the Heart, I Would Do Anything for Love, and It's All Coming Back to Me Now. Produced several hit albums like Bat Out of Hell. Worked with many extremely famous musical artists. I'm not sure why Al wanted to parody the songwriter of these songs versus one of the particular songs or even one of the bands that he worked with, because I know the Weird Al wiki lists Meatloaf, but honestly, this is not really playing in Steinman's Meatloaf songs.
you are correct to go to the source.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if I can call this a loving tribute to somebody's body of work. It's playing in a certain playground that they like to be in, these kind of overwrought, dramatic, ballady songs where normally somebody would be pleading for you to be in love or to write them the love letter. But no, this time it's don't send me the letter. But here's the thing. This is not as good as Don't Download the Song, and it's definitely not as good as Virus Alert, which does this idea, but better. It's a good thing this is the last song on the album because you can just kind of check out from it when you're done. So with that said, I just gave it a C for Cromulent.
This is also the lowest song on the album for me with a B. I'm only giving it a B. This is clearly the recipient to Virus Alert's chainmail, right?
Yeah.
This song absolutely did need to be a meeting and not just an email.
Yes.
I can't repeat the name of that room in Brick Road's Discord on air here, but there's a reason that it's on a timer. Nowadays, this is a boomer's need to knock this kind of nonsense. Get rid of it. And it's coming from Al. At the time of writing this was like 50. On the other hand, the song really doesn't outstay its welcome. It gets a little repetitive, but I think with its more modern production values, it's honestly important PSA message that needs to be said.
Do you guys think that Al's backup singers look forward to these gigs? Because they're like, oh man, today we get to sing about crap and nature trails and stomping on weasels.
I mean, he keeps getting Lisa Popeil back. She must like something about it.
I love a good long tail outro when it's done well. And I think this song,
Yeah.
it just goes down smooth. I like listening to it. And I have this in an A tier.
If Al played this song live, they don't hold up lighters anymore. They hold up their
your cell
phones with the
phones,
LEDs. People would totally be doing that.
That's an A, a C, and a B, which is the lowest we've given anything on this album.
That would put it in B tier.
This album cratered at B tier. Why is there a big, healthy smile on my face right now, gentlemen? Why am I so happy right now?
You have a good haircut?
There's no Shaggy Dog song on this album.
That's true.
We get a reprieve.
He could have, though. I want you to put yourself, because you said you didn't listen to this as an album, you listened to it as piecemeal
Correct.
at this time. But imagine putting this on as an album for the first time, and it starts to fade out on Stop Forwarding That Crap to Me, and then it kicks back up for another 5-minute list of everything that's been forwarded to him.
I'm down. I'll take it. You know why? Because that's not a Shaggy Dog song, Buttface.
It's a listicle. Again, I mentioned it in the front, in that it is very much like Weird Al's first album where he did the exact same thing, where we had some stellar material mixed in with some other material, except that this time Al has 30 years of experience behind him, and even the not headlining material is still really, really good. Like, Craigslist is not going to be on the Billboard Hot 100.
No.
But it is still a perfect song. It's like, I can't think of anything that's wrong with it. It's perfectly produced. And this album is full of that kind of music. And I know Al, Mandatory Fun is named so because his record company said he had to do it. And he said that, I want to be more hip and with the times, because he's getting competition from all ways, people who can get stuff out faster. But Al, the reason why you have persisted over these it is 40 years. It is 2003. His first album came out in 1983. I think we're actually coming up to the 40th anniversary of that album very soon. I'm pretty sure that was in fact, I have my list of facts. I've gone back to Weird Al 1983, and I didn't put the date in it because that was back when I was doing my first history, and my first history definitely was a much more hastily made.
See, this is what you were saying. Like, you don't have all that experience.
Exactly.
To tell you how to properly do it now.
No, but now I know what we're doing here. And that's the difference that between his first album, this one, that 30 years of difference makes. There's no bad songs on this. Even the songs that we weren't too hot on are still really good.
I'm hot on every song on this album. I didn't put anything under A on the whole
I think
album.
you're being a little too generous on this one.
I think I'm being absolutely accurate. A for accurate.
Allow me to put on my tinfoil hat once more. This album is a contemplation on fame and infamy, as being reflected on by the elder statesmen of pop culture and their observations on the modern state of its production. Performed this way is about the creation of edifice in persona through artistic expression, whereas CNR is the flip side of that public perception through exaggerated aggrandizement in circulated mythology. TMZ, then, is a contemplation on the ever-present surveillance of celebrity and how that can taint everyday experiences, though Al doesn't excuse how that can also distort the desire for privacy to extend to belligerent public behavior. This entitlement can be seen again in the democratization of public platform through social media sites like Craigslist, where everyone and anyone can be or feel like the center of their own little world and project that outwardly. Combining these themes of oversharing on the internet and the meticulous combing of said information looking for dirt, one could tie those two together as pointing towards, a certain government intelligence operation. Looping back, then, Skipper Dan is the lamentation of a would-be star, never given their platform, their shot at greater success, their chance to prove themselves exceptional. Moving on, rather than lamenting the lack of fame, in Ringtone, we have a character who, through a seemingly innocuous act, becomes infamous and universally derided. Yet, they refuse to take the simple solution to cease their bad decision due to the sunk cost fallacy. Alternatively, in the very next song, we see a man driven, pathologically so, to sculpt their very flesh in an artifice to their personal expression, through great expense and suffering, irrevocably so. Next, the two love songs, If That Isn't Love and Whatever You Like, as previously discussed, are about the mundanity of life and its average day-to-day experiences, not the exaggerated, grandiose displays of extravagance, as so often typified and exemplified by celebrities, to the point where there is a whole cottage industry of influencer culture that has sprung up creating celebrities of its own. Finally, Al himself speaks up, sick of this regurgitated, disposable detritus they are being bombarded with, regardless of intended malice or out of a sense of good-natured inclusion, and in no uncertain terms states, I do not want to perpetuate the chainmail of pop nonsense. This frivolity must end. I still don't know what the polka means! I mean, all art is just a story of I don't know what I'm doing. This album is an S tier.
There's just a murderer's row of excellent songs, just bang, 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 bang. And yet, this album just feels like it's a box that is containing those songs. Like, unlike Buttface, I'm not really seeing there's no connective tissue here.
No.
It's a YouTube playlist.
So it's an A album for Alpocalypse then?
It's A for Alpocalypse.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Because this album has no through line and no themes and no common elements, and it is just a box filled with really good songs, we didn't have a potpourri that really fit, so we just kind of pulled one out of our butts from the 90s. Here you go.
What a silly haircut! I can't believe this haircut!
An open letter to American parodist Weird Al Yankovic. Al, Why are you putting imagery from a Prodigy music video in your television show for children? Is it because the show's not really for children? It's just for you and your friends? Because you thought it was funny as hell? Well, you're right. This is funny as hell. I bust a gut every single time I watch this. Thank you for not making it 11 minutes long.
Yeah. Even though it's a Prodigy riff, he's very much going back to his David Byrne voice.
Yeah.
That's what makes it
Yeah.
work, actually, is throwing that little bit of David Byrne in there. It's like, what if Prodigy plus Talking Heads? That's a concept album I want to hear.
My notes on this, and I regret to call it a song, but my notes on this song are, this is not a song, this is a video.
Right. Well, this is one of those medium rarities where if he had just written a parody of the song Firestarter about a haircut and put it on like Bad Hair Day, it wouldn't have worked.
But why? What does that parody song even look like?
I don't know, but I think there's just enough meat there for this like little 30-second spot, and then that spot is really brought to life with the video, and that's all it needed to be. But it isn't a full song. I've got this as like a B++ for that reason.
It's an S tier video joke, but when it comes to just like the audio content, it's a B. B for Byrne-like.
This is a D tier song. I would have rather had another food parody about Smack My Lips Up.
What? No, wait, hold on. I can't let that go. Buttface, what are you eating that is smacking your lips up?
Oh, I'm smacking my lips at this. Oh man, I just really.
That's not how that phrase works. And now I'm terrified by the prospect of your eating habits.
The more you know.
La la la.
Just go out with that. This album was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
The tier list looks really dumb. Let me share
Yeah.
that.
I'm still working on the Jungle Cruise ride.
Dan, what you're saying is the door's not closed yet?
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.